Have you ever looked in the mirror after some kind of big life change? Maybe you hit a goal, or I don't know, just had a really good hair day for once. And for just the split second, you don't quite recognize the person looking back.
Yeah.
Not like scary recognize, but more, who is that?
Mm.
And do I belong to them?
It's a really strange disconnect, isn't it?
It really is.
Well, today that's exactly what we're doing a deep dive on, that feeling. We're going to explore this complex relationship between physical transformation, our sense of who we are, our identity, and, our emotional well-being, especially when modern medications are part of that picture.
Right. And for this deep dive, we're drawing on some really unique perspectives, actually, particularly the teachings of someone named Dan Hollis. He has this profound way of looking at these personal transformations. He goes way beyond just the first stuff.
Yeah, he gets into what it really means to integrate change, to make it part of you.
Exactly. So our mission today is kind of to understand what happens when our bodies maybe change faster than our self-perception catches up. How do we navigate that gap, that sometimes confusing space to feel like we belong to ourselves again? Let's get into it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's start with Adrienne's story. She's 53, and for months, things had been going, pretty well. She was using Semaglutide, her appetite was down, her knees felt better, clothes fitting differently, the usual markers.
The typical positive signs.
Right. But then one morning, she's just brushing her teeth like any other day, looks up, and she just didn't recognize the woman in the mirror. She told Dan later, "I knew it was me, but," and this is the key part, "I didn't feel like I belonged to her." What do you make of that? That kind of, disconnect?
Well, that's exactly what Dan Hollis calls identity lag. It's a core concept from him.
Mm.
He really emphasizes that your body can physically change faster than your internal story, the narrative you have about yourself. And when that happens, he says, the soul gets confused.
The soul gets confused. Wow.
Yeah. It's powerful because, most people think the hardest bit is losing the weight itself. But Dan argues the real crisis, the real challenge, often hits after the physical changes settle in. After the hunger quiets down, the old habits fade. And you're left feeling, unrecognizable, even to yourself.
And here's the twist that really changes how you think about it. Adrienne wasn't actually mourning the lost pounds. She was mourning, as she put it, the version of herself who had carried them. The version who knew how to navigate social situations, maybe with a certain kind of humor, or knew which clothes felt like armor, like comfort.
Right, the familiar self.
Yeah, she felt like a body in transition and a mind without a map, just lost.
And Dan's response to her was just so insightful. He didn't give her platitudes like, "Oh, you look great," or tell her she should feel proud. He just listened, really listened. And then he told her, the weight loss is just the clearing. The becoming takes longer.
The becoming takes longer.
Yeah. It's this acknowledgement that transformation isn't just an event you cross off a list. It's a process.
Yeah.
An unfolding.
That idea, becoming instead of just losing, that's a really crucial shift in perspective. And it connects directly to another really fascinating insight from Dan Hollis, doesn't it? About hunger itself, not just physical, but emotional hunger. What's his take on that?
Oh, absolutely. Dan taught that what we call emotional hunger. Well, he says it sounds like a craving, but it's actually a question, a need asking to be seen. If you really look closely, we often mix up things like being tired or lonely or even just overstimulated. We mistake those feelings for physical hunger.
Right, like your body's default signal for something's needed is eat.
Exactly. We instinctively reach for food when maybe what we truly need is, connection or comfort or just some clarity. It's like our emotional system is trying to send us a message, and maybe food was the only language we learned for it.
And the really profound shift he points out is that when food stops being your emotional scaffolding, you don't just feel lighter, you feel exposed.
Yes, exposed, vulnerable.
Like losing a familiar crutch, even if that crutch wasn't always helping. And what's so helpful, I think, is that Dan didn't shame that pattern. He didn't say it was bad or weak.
Not at all.
He just named it. He reframed emotional hunger not as some kind of moral failing, but as wisdom misdirected.
Wisdom misdirected. I love that phrasing. It suggests it was a coping mechanism that probably served a real purpose at some point.
Exactly. It helped you survive something.
So his advice isn't to beat yourself up. For you listening, if you feel that familiar emotional pull towards food, his suggestion is to just pause. Get curious, not critical. Ask yourself, okay, what am I really hungry for right now? It's about shifting from, self-punishment to self-inquiry.
That's a powerful shift. Now, okay, let's bring semaglutide into this picture more directly. For anyone unfamiliar, we're talking about drugs like Ozempic or Wegovy. They're GLP-1 receptor agonists. Started for type 2 diabetes, but now widely known for significant weight loss. And a lot of people just see them as appetite suppressants, like they just make you not hungry. But Dan Hollis really challenges that simple view, doesn't he?
He absolutely does. He sees its role as much more profound. He clarifies it like this. Semaglutide doesn't solve emotional hunger. That's key. It just makes the biological noise quiet enough to finally hear it.
Ah, so it creates silence.
Exactly. He even calls it the silence that lets you find the real issue or maybe the real solution. It doesn't hand you the answer, but it creates the space, the quiet needed to find it yourself.
Okay, so if semaglutide just quiets the biological noise, what does Dan Hollis say is the real opportunity this quiet presents? It's
Yeah.
clearly more than just not feeling hungry anymore, right?
Precisely. Well, according to Dan, its true strength, its real gift, is the opportunity to rebuild identity, behavior, and emotional awareness while the cravings take a step back.
Rebuild identity.
Okay. Yeah. It's this incredible window of time and sort of mental clarity, which leads to this crucial point Dan makes. He reframes semaglutide entirely. He says it's not a solution, but a pause, a breather, a reset.
A pause button?
Sort of. It creates this space where you actually get to design a new system for yourself, new ways of coping, new habits. And he pushes back against the criticism, too. He taught semaglutide isn't cheating, it's adaptation. He says the real cheat is pretending willpower was enough all along.
Wow. That's a strong statement, pretending willpower was enough.
Yeah, it challenges a lot of ingrained ideas about weight loss.
Okay, so this leads us straight into what Dan calls the real work. What happens in that pause when the cravings finally quiet down? Because that's when, as he puts it, the truth shows up. What does that mean?
Well, a core insight from Dan is that many people struggle or maybe regain weight, not because the medication failed, but because, and this is his phrasing, no one helped them rewrite the rituals that define their identity.
Rewrite the rituals.
Yeah. It's not just about stopping the old things, like reaching for snacks when stressed.
Yeah.
It's about consciously choosing and building new things to do instead.
Yeah.
New rituals.
So it reinforces that weight loss isn't just about a number. It's not the end goal.
Exactly.
It's really about building a life where food isn't your only coping tool. It's about establishing entirely new ways to, I don't know, handle stress, celebrate, connect, find comfort.
Yes. And Dan put it very directly. You didn't lose control. You lost connection.
Connection to what?
Connection to your hunger cues, to your purpose, to yourself. And he adds, that's what we help you rebuild.
Yeah, building connection. Okay.
The bigger idea here is that real lasting transformation is fundamentally about reestablishing that vital connection to yourself, your body, your life's meaning.
Which highlights something else he mentioned. He stresses, every pound lost means a habit must be replaced, not just removed.
Crucial point.
Biology, maybe through medication, gives you a head start, that important pause we talked about.
Yes, a critical window.
But ultimately, Dan suggests that only identity keeps you moving. It implies this journey is as much about deep self-discovery as it is about changing your body.
Absolutely. It's an inside-out process, really.
So how do you sustain it then, if it's not just willpower?
Well, Dan's core teaching on this is, I think, quite profound. He says, you don't hold on to weight loss with discipline. You hold on to it with alignment.
Alignment, not discipline. What's the difference there?
Discipline often feels like forcing yourself, fighting against your urges. Alignment, in his view, is more about creating a life, habits, routines that naturally support your well-being. So it feels less like a battle and more like flowing with who you want to be.
Okay, that makes sense. It's building a supportive structure rather than constantly pushing a boulder uphill.
Exactly. Well put.
So let's bring it back to Adrienne's journey with Dan. You said he didn't offer her empty praise. He just listened. Listened like a mirror that doesn't ask questions, only returns what you're ready to see. How did that kind of listening, that lack of judgment, actually help her move forward?
It created the safety, the space, for her to begin what Dan calls rewriting the names of things.
Rewriting names, like what?
Well, for example, shame about her past relationship with food. That started to become just memory, something to learn from, not hide from. The constant need for control. That started shifting into curiosity about her actual needs, her feelings. And discipline, that word that often carries so much baggage. It was reframed as seeking alignment with her deeper purpose, her values. It's a subtle shift in perspective, but it changes everything.
It sounds like her process then became less about restriction and more about expansion,
Mm-hmm.
filling her new physical shape, not with the old patterns of food or fear, but with permission.
Permission.
Permission to not know who she was yet, permission to be awkward in the in-between, that messy middle part,
Crucial, that messy middle.
and permission to build a new story without burning the old one down, accepting the past while creating the future.
It sounds simple when you say it, but as you know, that's incredibly brave work. It's hard. And the change she described wasn't dramatic overnight. It was subtle, she said. The mirror didn't change after that, but the way she greeted it did.
Oh, so.
She stopped flinching away. She just stood there longer, not necessarily smiling yet, but just being present with the reflection, with herself. And Dan would say that moment of just being there, that's everything. That's the beginning of belonging.
So when we pull all this together, what's the big takeaway? Dan's overarching lesson about weight loss, especially in this modern context. It sounds like it's not really about becoming someone totally different, wiping the slate clean.
No, another.
It's more about finally having the space to become yourself. The self that was maybe underneath the noise all along.
Beautifully put. That's exactly it. So for you listening, if you've ever looked in the mirror and felt that disconnect, like the shape was right, but the soul felt missing, if your own reflection has sometimes felt more like a stranger than a home, you are definitely not alone in that feeling.
You're just in that part of the story, maybe, where you learn how to belong to yourself again. This period may be aided by medication or just significant change. It's like a quiet window. The old, loud hunger might be gone or quieter. But something else, something maybe more honest, is arriving. A new question, perhaps. Let it in. Let it take its time. You're not behind schedule. You're just beginning.